So I just made a Dana White's Contender Series video about who is going to be on the roster and who's going to be fighting only about 10 days ago, but things are moving so quickly now. Multiple fighters have been added every single day, and that video is already outdated. With Dana White's Contender Series coming up in August, I was wrong. It doesn't come up in June. Road to UFC starts in June, and in August is when Dana White's Contender Series will start, is when these fights are going to be announced and everything like that. And so many fights and fighters are being announced every single day, obviously, because now they're trying to book fighters for only about 3 months away, so it makes sense. And I've got like this list of 40 fighters now, of fighters that are either confirmed or rumored to be on the show. Now, my main source is the UFC website, because when they add fighters to the roster, it kind of gets added to the UFC website and all that sort of thing. But also on top of that, there is a La Mayonnaise on Tapology. There's also MMA Ecosystem on Instagram. There's Sean Bitter on Twitter, and they're kind of like my main sources. There is also like Alex Bahunin and CC Legaspi on Twitter and Instagram also announcing these kind of things. So they're my main sources, and I've kind of compiled it all together into a list, which I'll leave in the comments, but also I'll talk about all of the fighters on the roster in this video as well. So maybe you guys can know who the fighters are before they even fight on the show. Maybe you guys can pick out some guys that you want to support. Maybe some people are from your hometown, your home country, and we'll just get straight into it. The first one is Joshua Van. He was confirmed by Fury FC, his promotion to be on the show. I'm going to be a little bit fast with this because I've got so many fighters to go through. Joshua Van, 7-1, flyweight, only 21 years old. Now, he was rumored to fight Felipe Dos Santos, but that is not true. He is going to be fighting someone else, and that someone else that he will be fighting is Kevin Borjas from Peru, and there's a lot of fighters from Peru on the list. And I did say, as soon as they signed Daniel Marcos and Orlando Bedoya, I knew they were going to go and target Peru. So I've actually got a whole separate video about the best fighters from Peru that the UFC should sign, and Orlando Bedoya is on that list. There's a lot of really good guys from Peru coming up, and Kevin Borjas was not on the list, but here he is. 8-1, he will be fighting against Joshua Van in the first week. And yeah, he should be a pretty good opponent, and it should be a good fight at flyweight. The next one is Zachary Reese. Is 5-0 at middleweight. He was also confirmed by Fury FC to be on Dana White's Contender Series. 5-0, 5 first round finishes, 4 out of 5 first minute finishes, and he is going to be taking on Eli Aronov, who is 6-0 at middleweight, and he did recently beat Mariusz Kizilkiewicz, who has won on Dana White's Contender Series twice and had a win on Dana White's Contender Series as well. Now, that was a long time ago, and yeah, looks like he's going to be on Dana White's Contender Series versus Zachary Reese. Luis Pajuelo from Peru, once again, is 7-1, and he is actually rumored to fight the fighter that I just revealed, Tobias Harila. Now, Luis Pajuelo, he's beaten a couple of really good guys. He's got a lot of finishes on his career, and Tobias Harila just fought very recently in the weekend, actually, and he knocked out Ryan Shelley, who was a 6-0 up-and-coming prospect. And if Ryan Shelley won that fight, he would probably be on Dana White's Contender Series instead of Tobias Harila. So Tobias Harila kind of stole that opportunity from him. He's on a 2-fight win streak by knockout, and it should be a good fight between him and Pajuelo. The next one is Tom Nolan at 155 pounds, an Australian fighter, and he's one of the best prospects coming up from Australia. But the problem is, he's going to be coming into an absolute shark tank of a division, man. 155 is one tough division, but he's 23 years old, got plenty of time to improve, and he's massive for the division as well. He's 6'2", and he does kind of have a very good rangy striking style. He's got 3 wins by KO in his last 3 fights against very good opponents as well. Had a long amateur career, so he should be a very good fighter to come out of Australia if he can get past Bogdan Grad from Austria, who is 11-1, also at lightweight. A lot of KO wins on his record as well. This should be a fantastic striking matchup. I'm looking forward to it. The next one is Thomas Peterson. I predicted Thomas Peterson to be on the show, and makes sense for him to be on the show. He is 7-1. He's a heavyweight. The UFC needs heavyweights, and he's got 8 wins by knockout. His one loss was to Waldo Cortez Acosta, who has now gone on to have some success in the UFC. Just defeated a couple of guys by KO in the past, went undefeated as an amateur as well. Very good signing for Dana White's Contender Series, and he is taking on Chandler Cole. And Chandler Cole was actually on The Ultimate Fighter, and I believe Chandler Cole was actually the first pick for the heavyweights on the Juliana Pena side. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was like the first pick. and he looks pretty good against Heidemann until he completely gassed out. Now, he has beaten a couple of guys with losing records and bounced back, but you know, Chandler Cole, maybe if he had better cardio, he could do something, but Thomas Peterson, I think, would probably win that fight, just to kind of give it away already. The next one is Felipe Dos Santos. He doesn't have an opponent announced yet, to my knowledge anyway. 7-0. I do worry it's a little bit too much too soon, but Felipe Dos Santos literally fights like Charles Oliveira. Literally the same. It's incredible, and all of this guy's fights are so fun to watch, man. His fight against Hugo Paiva was one of the best fights I've ever seen live. It was such a fun fight to watch. And he's beaten a couple of good guys. You know, he's had close fights. You know, but my problem is with Felipe Dos Santos, I do worry it's a little bit too much too soon, because when I was watching him against Hugo Paiva, there is a pretty good argument that Hugo Paiva could have won the fight. But I like Felipe Dos Santos in Dana White's Contender Series. He's going to put on a show. It's going to be a fun fight. The next fighter is Bruno Lopez, who is 11-0 at light heavyweight. The UFC does need more light heavyweights. He would be a very welcome addition if he can win. He'll be 12-0 going into light heavyweight. That's a fantastic record. And he's also got a lot of finishes on his record as well. 9 wins by finish. Very good record, obviously. 11-0. He's never lost, and a lot of finishes as well. Magomed Kabardiev. I'm not 100% sure if Magomed Kabardiev has been confirmed, but I have seen from a source that he has been. Now, Kabardiev will come into Dana White's Contender Series with a lot of hype. He's got 5 wins by finish. He's beaten a couple of very good guys, and a lot of people are very, very high on Magomed Kabardiev, so it'll be interesting to see if he can show up and show out at Dana White's Contender Series. Edgar Chairez has also been confirmed by Fury FC, the promotion to be fighting on Dana White's Contender Series. He fought on Dana White's Contender Series last year against Clayton Carpenter, took that fight on short notice, gave Clayton Carpenter a very tough fight as well, and Clayton Carpenter is going on to win his debut, and Chairez has gone on a 2-fight win streak by submission. One of them was a brutal submission win over Gianni Vasquez, so that's an interesting one. Edgar Chairez is going to be on the show. Muin Gafarov is very likely to be on the show. There's actually John Sweeney was also rumored to be on the show, but he's going to be fighting for an interim LFA title. And Muin Gafarov at the moment holds the LFA title, so I feel like LFA knows that Muin Gafarov is going to be out for a while, maybe getting signed to the UFC. So they put an interim title bout together, and Muin Gafarov's the champion. So that's kind of the thinking there. I think Muin Gafarov, you know, they're putting this interim bout on together to, you know, make space for Muin Gafarov to fight on the Contender Series. Now, I thought Gafarov got robbed against Anhaliger, but he looked pretty bad in that fight. But he's made a massive comeback, dude. He knocked out Heribeth Souza, who was 15-1 at the time, and then Diego Silva, who was 15-7 at the time. And he probably is very deserving of a shot on the Contender Series. Valentin Woodburn is 7-0. He was actually confirmed by Alex Bahunin on Twitter to be on Dana White's Contender Series. He's 7-0. He represents Jamaica, but I believe he was training out of the United States. He's won a couple of pretty good fights as well against a 17-8 opponent and a 30-16 opponent as well. So he should be a pretty good prospect coming in to the middleweight division of Dana White's Contender Series. The next fighter is Vinicius de Oliveira. I don't really have confirmation that Vinicius de Oliveira is going to be on the Contender Series, but if he is, I really am excited, dude. Vinicius de Oliveira is a fighter I am so hyped about, man. It's just a shame that he did lose to Ali Taleb, who's now got on to sign to the PFL, but he got a win, and it seems like UFC knows who this guy is. They know how good he is, so they're going to give him an opportunity. Very deserving. He's such a great fighter. And I'm not 100% confirmed, but I'm pretty confident he will be. I've only heard from one source that he will be, so it's a bit iffy there. Dylan Salvador is 5-1, and he's from France. And he is a lightweight, and he's got a fair few submission wins. You know, he did lose one fight to Ali Zablabian, in 2021. He's got a few kickboxing matches. He's also got a few exhibition bouts as well. And those kickboxing matches did kind of just happen to be in K1 and Glory, so like kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why he's on the Contender Series. And then we move on to Lucas Fernando, who is 9-1, a middleweight from Brazil. and he's on a good win streak, especially over good wins over DWCS Silva. That's a very good win, as well as the Fabio Aguilar win. Very much should fit into the Contender Series. Now, speaking of glory kickboxers, we've got Cesar Almeida, who is 3-0 in MMA, but he also has a background in glory in kickboxing, and he is going to be fighting on Dana White's Contender Series, is the rumor. He hasn't fought in MMA in a very long time, but it seems to be kind of like struggling to get opponents, so it looks like he's going to be on the Contender. He is 35, so he's going to be very old for a signing, so he's probably going to have to win by like round 1 KO to really impress Dana White, but I think he probably could be a pretty good signing. The next one is Peyton Talbot, 5-0, and he won, I believe it was the main event of Uriah Faber's one of more recent events. Uriah Faber is putting on some great events, and Peyton Talbot, beat an 8-1 opponent. Very good win, lots of KOs on his record, 5 wins by KO on that record as well, and all finishes in his amateur career as well at 135 pounds. Peyton Talbot could be a guy to look out for in the future. Now, as we move up on the video, Tapology just stopped working for me, so I'm going to have to use Sherdog. The next part of the rumoured section is John Sweeney, and the reason why he's rumoured is because he's actually got a fighting for that interim belt. Now, he was rumoured to be on Dana White's Contender Series, but now he's going to be fighting for the interim belt that Muin Gafarov has like vacated, I guess you could say, against Alan Bogoso, who has been on Dana White's Contender Series in the past. So maybe the winner of that fight will be on Dana White's Contender Series, but we'll find out. The next one is Janaina Silva, who is 5-0 in Brazil, and she is a woman's strawweight, taking on Eduarda Moura. That is a rumoured fight. Eduarda Moura, 8-0, versus Janaina Silva, who is 5-0. The next one is Jonata Denise, who is a heavyweight former glory kickboxer as well. 5-0 with 5 first rounds and knockouts as well. Absolute savage. Josephine Lindgren Knutson is 5-0. She's actually fought on road to UFC in the past, and she beat Yadam Seo. And then she just beat Jacinta Austin, who is a very good prospect herself. And she's also, I think, like a kickboxing world champion, or like very high accolades in kickboxing. Isis Verbeek is also, I believe, a kickboxer with a lot of accolades in kickboxing. She's 5-1 on Sherdog. I think she's listed at 4-1 on Tapology, so it could be kind of either way. Marco Tulio Silva Costa is 9-1, and he is a middleweight from Brazil, and he should be a good addition to Dana White's Contender Series. Samanda Muradov is 23. I think this guy is really good. This guy's beaten some really good competition in his career. He's talked about how he's got this big fight to be announced, but nothing's ever been announced. So I'm just assuming this big fight that he's announcing or is planning to announce is Dana White's Contender Series. So I'm kind of reading in between the lines there. Adia Nurgoze is I believe he's a middleweight from Kazakhstan. I also believe he was rumored to be offered the fight against Gregory Rodriguez at UFC 285, but he just wouldn't be able to make the weight on short notice. So I believe he's going to be on Dana White's Contender Series as well. He is rumored. Evgeny Ignatiev is 20-2. He is also rumored, and I believe he is he's a bantamweight listed here on Sherdog, but I think that he's moved up to featherweight, but I could be wrong. The next one is Boris Medvedev, who is a welterweight, 16-2 from Russia. Michel Martignoni is also rumored, but the reason why he's rumored is because he's actually vacated his Cage Warriors 135-pound belt to fight for the Cage Warriors 125-pound belt. Now, the rumor is maybe he's just going to vacate the belt and then go to Dana White's Contender Series. Maybe he does fight for the 125-pound belt. Who knows? But we'll move on. The next one is Davy Costa with a fantastic afro. He is 14-2, and I believe he is actually a bantamweight, but Sherdog does have him listed as a flyweight. Fernando Lourenço de Almeida is a bantamweight from Brazil with a 16-3 record. The next one is Felipe Boons, who is 13-6 at flyweight, and he's got a massive win recently. He just knocked out Yuma Horiuchi in the very first round, and he looked really good in that fight. He also lost recently to Jussier Formiga, who you might know is a former ranked UFC fighter. Although the guys that he's lost to are really good, he is pretty old for flyweight, which maybe if he did get a big win, maybe he won't get picked up. But they do need a lot of more flyweights, you know what I mean? The flyweight division does need some more signings, so we're kind of waiting on that. Next one is Kekper Formala. Once again, a rumored fighter to be on Dana White's Contender Series. He is from Poland. Idris Alibai is from Kazakhstan. I believe he is from, I believe he is a flyweight as well. And he's 7-0. Badmatsarin Dorziev is 7-0 as a flyweight as well. He is also rumored to be on the show, but he just very recently did win by first round KO in 23 seconds. He would be a pretty good signing to the UFC. The next one is Bernardo Sopai from Albania with a 10-2 record, and he's also a flyweight. You will notice a lot of flyweights on the Contender Series this year, and it is because the UFC does need more flyweights. They also need more light heavyweights, and they also need more heavyweights. So expect maybe some more heavyweights and light heavyweights on the roster. Elias Kamzin is 11-2. He is a welterweight, also rumored to be on the show. Lucas Fernando is a middleweight with a 9-1 record from Brazil, rumored to be on the show again. Justin Burlinson, he did recently lose to Reece McKee, and he lost to Johan Lainez on the Contender Series in 2021. But once again, he is also rumored to be on the show because he posted on Instagram like a photo of him fighting on Dana White's Contender Series. And I think it said something like ready to go or ready to go again or something like that. So he's kind of hinting that he's on the show. Would it make too much sense? Not really, because Reece McKee just beat him, and Reece McKee isn't actually rumored to be on the show. Maybe they just re-sign Reece McKee because he's a former UFC fighter, so it wouldn't actually make sense for him to go on the Contender Series. They'll probably just have to re-sign him straight up. But maybe if they're going to put Burlinson on the Contender Series, expect Reece McKee to be on the UFC at some point, you know what I mean? Nariman Abasov is once again rumored to be on the show again because he did lose to Ismail Bonfim. I predicted Ismail Bonfim to win that one. Not many people did, dude. I saw people on Twitter all over Abasov, and all you've got to do is just a little bit of tape study, and you would have learned that Bonfim was going to win that fight. But hey, that's a completely different topic. I'm very proud of that pick, though, obviously, because dude, people were all over Abasov on Twitter, and good pick, Bunny. Anyway, he did recently win. He's 28-4, which is insane. And I do know UFC probably does want to sign him. So they're probably going to try and just put him on the Contender Series again. And then the next one is Shamil Gaziev, who's a heavyweight. It's not really confirmed if he's going to be on the Contender Series or not, but I've heard little rumors, so it'd be interesting. He is actually the guy that built Kirill Kornilov, who's a great prospect himself, so it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But I believe that's my entire list. I'll actually put it up for you guys before I end the video. I will put this list in the comment section below, but this is like my entire list. So you got all of the confirmed fighters and rumored fighters. Now, there probably are some rumored fighters that should be put in the confirmed section, but it's kind of all all around the place because people are getting confirmed that were rumored, and then people that were confirmed, I'm finding out that the night might not be on the show, so they're going back to rumored, and it's all mixed up around the place. But this is my list. I think it's a pretty good list. I think it might be one of the bigger lists that's kind of making the rounds because I've got so many different sources that I've been checking out. So I think it's a good list. I think this is pretty accurate. Like, this is 40 fighters, give or take, on the list, and there's going to be 100 fighters on the show, right? Because it's going to have 10 weeks and 5 fights each. So there's going to have 10 fighters on 10 weeks. So that's almost like half the whole roster is here if that happened. And if it did happen, that's a really good roster that they've got this year. They're not just getting anyone on the show. They actually are putting really good up-and-coming prospects on the show. It's not like in the past where, let's be honest, they have put guys on the show and then they've won and then they've just kind of fed them to other up-and-coming prospects and used them. They're not doing that this year. They've got some really good guys on this list, and I'm really looking forward to Contender Series in 2023. And I do think within the next few years, we probably will see more champions come from Dana White's Contender Series, because at the moment, Jamal Hill is the only Dana White's Contender Series champion, and Alex Perez come close because he did get a title shot, but he never become the champ. So at the moment, you've only got Jamal Hill coming off Contender Series and becoming a champion. They're going to want to change that so they can say something like, we've had 4 champions come off the show. We've had 5 champions come off the show, because on the Ultimate Fighter, they've had like a ridiculous amount of champions come off that show, and that's like a big selling point, you know what I mean? Like, so many champions have come off the Ultimate Fighter, and they definitely want to kind of sell that. But let me know what you think in the comments. If you know someone that I don't, definitely comment below, because I do want to add to the list. If you know a source that's really good, let me know, because I might not know about them. But at the moment, I'm trying to become a source for Dana White's Contender Series. I think I'm putting together a pretty good list from other sources, so let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.